Good afternoon. Hi, everyone. My name is Colin Boucher. If you haven't met me yet, I am a senior solutions architect here at Bonterra, which basically just means I get the privilege of demoing our solutions to new and existing customers looking to learn more about how we can help them meet their organization's goals. But today I'm going to be kicking off the webinar. So first off, I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your day to come here to learn all about our support offerings. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you get lots out of today. So this conversation starts by recognizing that all of us here share a common goal. We want you and your teams to be able to tap into the full power and potential of your platform to streamline and optimize your program delivery. The idea is to help move you to a place where you have more time in your day to be proactive and strategic, to innovate and to focus on the important stuff that results in consistent delivery of your programs. It's a simple concept, but we know that our customers face challenges that can stand in the way of getting to that place. As a former advanced support consultant myself, I can tell you that I have worked with customers who have been tasked with supporting the management of their databases and their data in really small teams, sometimes just a team of one. I'm sure my colleagues have seen that before. And sometimes I'd hear that there just aren't enough hours in the day to focus on doing a deep dive and learning about and adopting fully the platform and everything that it has to offer, even if they want to. They're balancing everything else they do in Apricot or ETO with all the other responsibilities and hats that they wear. You probably have a similar story to that and to tell, I'm sure. So today, we're hoping to help you out, let you in on some game-changing options for your usage of Bonterra's impact management offerings. Imagine getting a new member of your team who comes to the table loaded with comprehensive knowledge and experience of not only best practices from how other customers use our tools, but with the ability to help implement changes and make enhancements on your behalf, giving you back time in your day. This new teammate joins you as a technical consultant, a strategic coach, a systems trainer, and admin superstar, skills critical to you reaching your goals faster and with greater ease and agility. So here's a preview of where we're going today with our agenda. So to start off, I'm going to walk you through what exactly Bonterra Support is. As we make our way through the core concepts, I'll be joined by a few of my fellow Bonterrans to take a deeper dive into impact management consulting, introduce you to what an advanced support consultant, or ASC as you may hear it referred to, brings to the table, and finally to explain the various packages we're offering to best fit your team's needs. Lots of great information to share with you here. So just to give you a quick moment to get acquainted with our tour guides here. They'll all be giving their individual introductions when we get to their parts, but just quickly, we got Andre, Christy, Dakota, and myself. Thanks for joining us, folks, and we'll be getting to them in a moment. Okay, so as a current customer, which most of you likely are, you may have already known that for decades, Bonterra and its predecessor organizations have advanced the success and efficiency of nonprofits and other social good organizations through our solutions. The results we consistently hear from our customers is that our tools and support help them significantly boost their program impacts. In fact, we've run the data and found out that our customers typically experience a 2 times increase in program efficiency and a 3 times increase in program outcomes compared to whatever legacy solution they were using before us. For example, Deaconess Nurse Ministries increased their funds by 31%. The number of people served through the West Houston Assistance Ministries Food Bank grew by a multitude of 14 times. We also have a lot of individual testimonials from customers about how we helped them roll out their processes, scale their impact, and improve their efficiency. And those are going to be kind of sprinkled throughout our demo or our demonstration and talk today, but just here's a quick one. Can't give you enough praise for all the guidance we've been given. We would have never been as ready to roll out our new process without the help of the Bonterra team. And that was coming from united way. But here's the rub. So even with these success stories, we've found as we've talked to our customers that they are now expected to deliver more, right? More impactful outcomes with the same or even less resources. Reporting requirements have become more complex and time consuming. 72% of nonprofits say that these requirements waste significant resources. It takes a lot of time. 75% report an increase in demand for programs by the folks that need your services, and there's no change in team sizes to grow and scale with that. And these pressures are evident in the increasing resource constraint challenges. The top three challenges that our customers tell us they're facing are rising operating costs, limited staff capacity, and recruiting, retaining staff, and of course, a lot of staff turnover, as is often the case in the nonprofit sector. This shift has led to a substantial rise in administrative costs for our customers and places them in a precarious position where the risk of losing funding becomes twofold. On one hand, there are efficiency risks from increasing complexity and overhead. And on the other hand, there are funding risks if they fail to meet stringent compliance requirements or reporting requirements set by funders. Both scenarios play a critical risk or pose a critical risk to the continuity of your funding, underscoring the urgent need for a solution that eases that administrative burden and ensures steadfast compliance. So after hearing this, do any of these sound familiar to you? Are you experiencing similar pressure on efficiency and funding? We have a poll because we're curious to kind of hear your take. Which one of these rings the most true to you for you and your organization? So staff capacity issues, increasingly complex reporting requirements, rising operating costs, or lack of resources. And Amanda, thank you for launching the poll.
Yeah, we'll give folks a couple of seconds to answer this one here. Right now, it's looking like the majority of folks are saying increasingly complex reporting, followed closely by staff capacity issues. Give everyone like 10 more seconds. Thank you for answering.
And that's very true from what I hear in my demonstrations and sort of day-to-day work that I do with customers as well. I'm sure my colleagues will agree with that.
All right, awesome. Yeah, looks like we ended with the majority of folks saying that complex reporting.
Great. Thank you all very much for sharing your thoughts. That's helpful for us to know and affirming as well that we're sort of meeting you where you're at. And let's now talk about our services solutions that can help with that complex reporting and those other challenges and dive into discussing our enhanced and premier support offerings. So the results that we consistently hear from our customers is that our enhanced and premier support services help them efficiently increase those program outcomes. And here's a couple of examples of the types of results we hear and see from our customers, as compiled by Christy, our program manager that you'll hear from a bit later in today's presentation. I just want to highlight these two specific stats as they encapsulate the core benefits delivered by our support packages. With the efficiencies gained through our offerings, customers have seen results like 3 times increase in their service delivery capacity and 33% less time spent on services and deliverables. So based on this dedication to us helping you improve your program efficiency and outcomes, we designed our support services to deliver the program and design expertise that unlocks your platform's potential, whether you are on Apricot or ETO. Our support packages are a set of professional and support services that help teams build impactful programs, scalable platform, and help you with the burden of that complex reporting, all coordinated by a single, consistent, dedicated Bonterran called an advanced support consultant, of which Dakota is one that you will hear from today. And the overall theme of these items here is to unlock your platform by letting us spend time on managing that minutia so that you can spend more time on strategy and improve the scalability of your software so it can grow with your organization's needs. As we all know, funders and reporting requirements are constantly changing, and we're here to help you with those changes. So let's dive now into the how by going over the specifics of each component of our offering. And so I'm gonna start by tackling the first item on the highlighted list here, the support, and then after which my wonderful colleagues will take over to provide additional details on each of these items. But at a high level, I will say what you can expect from our premium support services is a more personal touch from Bonterra with dedicated people assigned to you, faster support response times, bespoke training options, and greater access to our collective expertise to help you and your mission succeed. Okay, so for item number one, starting with our support center, you probably know by now that regardless of whether you have a premium support package with us or not, you will always have access to our tier one support team through the in-product chat tool you might be familiar with or our support portal. But what's different about that experience as a premium support customer is the prioritization and guaranteed response times to your tickets. Enhanced support customers will be guaranteed a first response within 6 hours and premier customers within 4. And that's putting it in writing. Remember, these are minimums that are guaranteed to you most of the time if you've experienced support. Our amazing support team exceeds these targets by quite a lot. And our premier, support customers get to skip the line with priority support for any ticket submitted on any channel. Premier customers get pushed to the top of the queue. Both enhanced and premier customers get to enjoy a response time SLAs to ensure business continuity. Enhanced support customers can expect that 6-hour response time and premier customers for 4. And in addition to that, you can get additional hours of support capacity outside of our regular business hours for support. Enhanced customers can get up to 4 additional hours and premier customers up to 8. So this means that, for example, if you let us know you have a big weekend event coming up where you need all hands on deck, our support team can coordinate with you ahead of time to ensure we have coverage at that time to support you in case you need us. All right, so now that I've talked about our enhanced tier one support pathways, the rest of today is going to be diving deeper into these 4 additional areas: training, the ASC themselves, results reporting, and program management. This table outlines everything you'll get as an enhanced or premier support customer. And before my colleagues go into all the details of what's included in Bonterra's 2 support offerings, let me just quickly call out the main differences between the term enhanced versus premier. So first, Premier is our most comprehensive service offering. With Premier, your dedicated experts take a very proactive approach to supporting you. In contrast, as an enhanced customer, your dedicated expert is there to reactively address your needs as they come up. Second, the Premier tier includes our results reporting and program management services, which are not included in the enhanced offering. Our aim with the Impact Management Premium support is to provide both our technical and administrative expertise that enables nonprofit like yours to efficiently scale your impact and continue to secure the funding you need. So with our technical expertise, you can significantly boost your outcomes and reduce the amount of time and energy you spend on managing technical complexities. So do you need a new form built, a new report built? Do you need help understanding how to discover or optimize a new feature? Do you need help, some one-on-one help training a new staff member on how to use the system? When one administrator leaves and another one comes, to kind of give them some orientation and help them understand things. All of those things your assigned advanced support consultant can do, and they can help you take care of those things. And then as for our administrative expertise, you can expect to receive proactive, big picture planning and project management support from us so that you can focus on core program activities, meet funder requirements, and safeguard essential funding streams. All right, so moving into the details of our training options next, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Andre.
Thank you, Colin, so much for that. That was a fantastic overview of everything we're doing. So I'm happy to dive in. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. My name is Andre Harness. I am one of the managers for the Advanced Support Consulting team. And I've been at Bonterra for going on 6 years now. And I've kind of started from the ground up here. I started up as a tier 1 support representative, moved into being an advanced support consultant myself for a few years, team lead for a year, and now into management. So happy to be here. And our first topic we're diving into is training. While I myself am not on the training team, I've collaborated with the training team to make sure we're giving you all the best information about our training resources with the enhanced and premier support. Yeah, let's just get into the nitty gritty here on what we've got for our training here. So, with the enhanced and premier packages, we want to maximize the value you're getting out of Apricot, and just make sure that your resource that you have, all the staff that you have on your programs are well trained for this. And so our first bullet point here is on-demand training. And this is available for both enhanced and premier clients. The Help Center comes loaded with articles that answer any subject on the product. So, if you have questions about certain pieces, certain product functionalities, the Help Center has those articles available for you, as well as there's self-paced digital learning paths. Just a whole library of videos where you can learn about different functional pieces within the Apricot software. Now, the big bread and butter pieces of the on-demand training, in my opinion, is these 15 or more unique webinar trainings that we have hosted 2 times a month. These are, I believe, let me double check here. I'm sure I've got my notes right here. These are training sessions that just have us go over all the different functionality within our webinars, the pieces of the software that we're looking at. They're hosted 2 times per month. You can bring in, I believe, 3 seats for each of these webinars, and we just cover whatever topic is on the bracket for that. So the 3 group training courses per month, however, these are more hands-on for you. The webinars are just like the ones you're seeing today, where someone's going to speak with you about the product, talk to you about the topics, whereas the group training courses are a much more hands-on experience. They're guidance from our trainers, giving you access to a training instance where you can explore the tool and kind of see how to handle it. The way the training team explained this to me the other day was that the webinar trainings are more like watching someone how to swim, whereas the group trainings that you're getting, these 3 group training sessions, you're actually getting the chance to swim. You're getting in the water with a trainer and having them walk you through it. Now, the personalized training piece that is available for Premier packages does come with 1 4-hour training session each month tailored to your unique configuration and processes. So where this one really takes the cake here is that this is partnering you with a actual trainer who will meet with you, have a kickoff call, talk about what your needs are as an organization, determine where your training really needs to be focused. And for the next 3 months or so, if you plan like a 90-day plan, they'll schedule these training calls with your staff, with yourself, and really focus in on whatever is needed. And you also will have some custom digital learning paths that are curated to your team's needs. Now, where this is so beneficial is the conversation we had before about staff turnover. Staff turnover can be a big conversation around, okay, well, if this person was trained on the software, that knowledge goes with them. Did they give us all the resources before they exit the organization? Well, this personalized training gives you the opportunity to keep building on that. You can revisit training sessions with staff. You can have up to 15 people even join those training sessions. So it can be a mass training opportunity for new staff that are coming in and just really keep you that ongoing training happening. Okay. And we're actually going to bring this into a poll here next. And we're going to ask, have you checked out our new Bonterra Academy training webpage? So if you'll answer that, you'll have that poll pop up here in just a moment. If you're not familiar with it, it is at bonterratech.com/training. And you can scroll down and just choose the product that you're looking to learn more information about.
And again, we'll give folks a couple of moments to answer this one. Seeming like right now the majority of folks saying they didn't know about it, but they will now. So really glad we could share that with you today, and hopefully you'll find some great resources there. Followed by people saying yes. So looks like there's a lot of folks excited about or already using Bonterra Academy. Thanks,
Awesome.
Andre.
Yeah, and we're constantly growing that out, building it out, and there's opportunities for you to say, hey, you know what? I don't find an article on X. Ask someone, we'll absolutely build it for you and make sure there's resources there. And of course, any new features coming out, we want to make sure are on there as well. Alrighty. Moving into this next portion, we're going to have Dakota share with us. I'll partner with Dakota on this next section, talk about our advanced support consulting feature. So Dakota.
Yeah, thanks, Andre. A little bit about myself. I've been with Bonterra, inching that closer to 4 years. Time flies, but I've been with the ASC team now for a little over 2 years. So yeah, we'll do a deep dive to kind of give you a better insight on what is an advanced support consultant. So as has been mentioned, a lot of what we do is, having that technical expertise, right? When a resource available to you. And a lot of what we can do is, provide the support in several ways. A lot of the time, we spend a lot of time evaluating your database needs, providing guidance on some of those best practices to sort of, ensure that smooth process. And so when it comes to refining that, a lot of times we take a look at some of our forms, our reports, our workflows, and really try to, consult you on how best to, refine those and make sure that your organization is having their needs met. A lot of times too, when it comes to those form designs and reports, we spend some time, exploring some of those features. And like we mentioned earlier, some of the newer features that could enhance those organizational needs. And yeah, we just help you manage those and, hopefully analyze that data better. That way you're, operating more effectively. And then finally, we do assist in, reporting data. That's something we talked about in those polls earlier. It's really important to us. But a lot of times we take that and we really try to gain insights from those and identify like where could we, allocate more resources to, better identify those opportunities to, again, as always, enhance our program performance. One thing I'll mention too, as we talked about a second ago, but just to reiterate, between the enhanced and premier packages, with the enhanced, it'll just be you working with your ASC. Again, a lot of that's just consulting, being that partner with you and kind of really getting a more intimate understanding of your database. Whereas with the premier, a lot of the times you're going to be working with your ASC and a program manager to really, hash out some of those actionable items and make sure we're fully utilizing our time with both of those experts. All right.
Yeah, and just to give you a little visual of what our team looks like internally on this slide, give you a little bit of put a face to the name of our advanced support consultants. We've actually got a pretty large team, but what makes us so effective is that we rely very heavily on each other. If there's ever somebody who doesn't quite have the right answer for you, we have someone else who will. You will have a dedicated consultant, but this is just a lot of collaboration that happens amongst us. And of the management team, between myself, Ashley Garcia, and Kyle De La Rocca, my co-managers here, there's always someone we can pull in to kind of give us a different perspective, collaborate, make sure that our deadlines are met. Just a great family here with the impact management team.
All right, let's talk about some of the best practices and common pitfalls. With ASCs, we work with a wide variety of clients, from smaller clients to larger, statewide kind of groups. So we really see the whole breadth of, things that are really working well with ASCs, that relationship, and things that we come across that could be considered pitfalls. Let's start with the best practices. So some of the things that we're really going to want to do is schedule regular meetings, right? This allows us to have that sort of, better understanding of how your organization operates, how you utilize the database. And so those consistent check-ins really allow us to, become familiar with it and really help you and consult with you to, better utilize the database. Planning the database vision. This is really important. We're going to spend a lot of time, strategizing. How do we get from point A to point B? And, talking about some of those pitfalls that we may come across, some of those challenges. And so having that dedicated time to really touch base goes a long way. This is, I think, something we kind of talked about earlier too, knowing when to use ASC versus support. So as with advanced support consultant, again, we are those technical experts. Support also has their team of experts as well, but they're mostly going to be utilized for like troubleshooting needs, some small issues that may arise. We really want to make sure that they are tackling those issues and we're not dipping into the time that we have with ASCs for that more consultative time. The focus trainings, this is really important too. We do have our workshops and our knowledge-based articles, but with the ASC, because they are those knowledge experts, a lot of times we can spend one-on-one time with trainings, group sessions. I've done recordings, things like that. These are really helpful and really empowering your admins and taking ownership of the database. And then lastly, collaborating effectively. Like we said, we really want it to be a partnership. You do have the final say, but we're there to consult and provide our expertise and really help you, get a good grasp on the organizational needs you have for your database. Let's move on to the common pitfalls. Kind of inversely with the inconsistent communication, if you're only reaching out when things come up or there's only issues, you're not really fully utilizing that strategic vision, right? We're spending just time fixing things when really we're wanting to figure out how we can enhance the program, right? Again, with a reactive approach, we're only focusing on those issues when they come up, where in reality, we want to, envision some of those common pitfalls and tackle them before they occur, before we go live with some of those features. With the misallocated ASC time, if we're only using the time you have with your ASC to troubleshoot issues or do investigations, things like that, things that we can tackle, it's not leaving a lot of time for us to really work on that vision that you have for your database, and that consultation time is really going to be mitigated in that regard. And then I mentioned earlier the lack of database ownership. If all the things that come up and all the things that we're tackling is kind of being handled by the ASC, that's not really empowering our clients, right? We really want to make sure that we're instilling those tools for you to be successful and be independent. That way, as admins pass, from database to database, you really have confidence in the software, and you can train your staff users, your front end users to really understand how the database works. And then lastly, disregarding recommendations. We are just consultants. We can't tell you what to do, but a lot of times when we have these suggestions or we go over some of these new features, we're really there to recommend those best practices, really try to improve those workflows. And so if those aren't taken into account, we might see some of those hurdles come up a little bit faster, right? And so it's always good to try to, take that recommendation to heart and really try to understand why we're approaching a certain situation that way with our recommendations. But we're going to move on to a case study. So we're going to be talking about an organization that I've actually worked with. This is a American State Department of Health. So we're going to talk about three things here: the clear motivations, challenges, and transformation, things that we've done to help them overcome some of those challenges. So as with most standard state departments of health, they tackle things like disease prevention, public health, regulation of childcare, hospitals, emergency services, pretty standard stuff. And as far as their mission, the things that really drives them, the organization promotes and protects the health of their state's children and adults. And so a lot of the work that I've done with them actually has to do with postnatal and prenatal care. And so really we're looking at individuals and following them for really about 2 years at a time. So a lot of data goes into that. And so that's most of the work we do with them. Let's talk about some of the challenges. So with the challenges here, when I first went on, there are a number of forms and reports that are kind of scattered, right? We might be tracking the same information in multiple places. Maybe some of the vital information is missing, or we don't know where it is because there's kind of a disconnect between some of our admins. And then some other things too, internal processes like our workflows. There might be a process that you can achieve multiple ways. And so when you're teaching somebody, right, they may be used to a certain way and they're not really sure how it goes. So there wasn't really a standardized way of tackling some of those workflows. And then system changes. So with this particular client, they've been with us for many, many years. And so, as it tends to happen, admins will pass through and we'll get new admins. And so there's a sort of disconnect and there's a sort of a reliance on them to, tackle things, or having Bonterra Support tackle them. And we're not really empowering those users to, really take ownership of the software, really make sure that they feel comfortable tackling some of those smaller things that admins should be able to do, right? So let's talk about how we fixed them, how we worked with them to overcome those challenges, and how they really took ownership of the database. So with the ASC, a lot of what we've done is, really doing an audit of their forms, an audit of the reports, seeing where we can improve things. Maybe reports are running slow. We want to, improve those run times, or maybe, again, we have some of those vital informations in many places. We want to consolidate that just to make sure that, everything's in one place, which in turn makes reporting much easier, which I know we're really concerned with. Other things too is, again, just reducing dependence on external support. right? If only 2 admins know how to do everything, that's really limiting if they are on vacation, they're out, whatever it may be. And so we want to make sure that we're empowering everybody to really understand how the database works. We'll talk about some of the results we've had and some of our successes here. We can see that with the ASC services, 95% of deliverables were completed on time, which is great. It's huge. We want to make sure we're servicing everybody we can. We were able to take 40+ reports and refine those. A lot of times that just means, increasing run times, condensing them. Maybe we had a report that was in 3 different places. We made it run all in one place. A lot of it will have to do with automating this as well, which is great. We did some specialized curriculum, which I'll talk a little bit about later, but essentially, like I mentioned, we can spend some one-on-one time really understanding the software, maybe new features, results, reporting itself. And then finally, standardizing procedures. This may entail us taking, formal processes, really taking that down, building a training deck out of that. That way the client can have that, forever, and they can use that as new users come in, new admins come in, and that way there's no question on how to, achieve something.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the real bottom line here to take away from all this is that we are here to be your partners. We are here to help you kind of think of what the next step is for your Apricot system. And we've got a couple of testimonials here. Some such great ones. I couldn't decide. We have 2 slides for the testimonials here, but yeah, we're your partners here. We're committed to guiding you through every challenge and making sure that you just achieve whatever goals you have for the software. And Colin, if you'll take us to the next slide here. Other great feedback here we've gotten from our clients. And yeah, we've got clear communication as our goal. We want to provide you deep knowledge, unwavering support, again, and just bring you to a place where Apricot is truly a success. And it's a lot. I understand that it can be a lot sometimes to take all of this on your shoulder and say, well, it's as an administrator, I have to own this database software. And what we're saying is you don't have to do it alone. We're here to partner with you on this. Alrighty, so our poll here: what product functionality do you think you get the most out of, or do you use the most, or get the most value out of currently? So our poll should have gone live now.
Yep. Again, I'll give folks like 20-30 seconds to answer this one as well. We appreciate y'all's responses. Looks like so far an overwhelming majority are saying reporting and analytics.
Well, boy, we're excited to get to our next slide then.
Yeah, I'll make sure we get everyone's voices heard, but we didn't rig that. That was real. Real segue happening. Yeah, it looks like almost 78% of folks are in that reporting analytics bucket. And then pretty even distribution throughout the next 3. Thanks, everyone.
All righty, yeah. Our hot topic here. Let's talk about results reporting. So with your ASC, again, we have that expertise in results. A lot of that's going to unlock a lot of things for us. And so let's dive into that. With your work with your ASC, a lot of times you get assistance with, if it's Apricot, both native and Apricot results reporting. And a lot of these tools help us consolidate data from, different places. And a lot of times that's going to be, allowing us to unify, like I was saying earlier, really condense everything to, easily read reports and for different audiences as well, right? So a lot of times, we're going to help you develop those report training curriculums. Like I mentioned earlier, one thing that I did previously with the State Department of Health was we actually devised a syllabus, right? We did like a 6-week course. We assumed that you had 0 report experience. And so we work with you, we train you, we get you comfortable. That way, by the end of that course, you can build your own reports. And so a lot of those trainings too, that can be a one-on-one thing, could be a group thing. You can do the recordings as well. That way you have them forever. Like in our case, we actually, we're able to record those training sessions for that course. And then, they have it uploaded on their share file. That way they have it forever. Some of the things too with results, reports can be customized to meet, the needs of key stakeholders, right? A report for front-end users is going to look a lot different than something maybe for funders or the board, right? And so we're going to work with you on formatting that, pulling in just the necessary information, because we really just want to make sure that you have the flexibility, right, for sharing the right data with the right audience. One of the major advantages that I kind of touched on a little bit was the automation part of reporting, right? If you don't have access to results, there might be a lot of data entry within Excel, and that can be really time consuming, which takes away from us as an organization servicing our audience, our clients, right? And so with that automation with reports, we can manage those with complex data sets. We can track multiple programs, multiple sites, all of it without that manual workload. In addition to, we can actually have those reports being sent out with scheduled reports, which is nice. That way, again, I don't want to say it's hands off, but it's pretty easy and automated. So it really allows us more time to work on other areas. Finally, with results reporting, it can really help us dive sort of deeper into the organization's progress. We track multiple metrics, we align with different goals. Again, maybe we need different information for admins, for, funders, stuff like that. And so we really want to have that comprehensive view because it just enables us to measure and demonstrate that impact more effectively. But yeah, in short, with results reporting, again, not only does it save time for everybody, but it also empowers us again to really have insights on how is the organization doing, where do we need to allocate more resources or, make improvements. That way you just have meaningful outcomes for your organization. But yeah, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chrissy, our team lead project manager for our impact management ASC team.
Howdy from Austin, Texas, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this webinar and being a partner with us and being eager to learn more. I have a background working for the Texas Education Agency, working in state government. And prior to that, I was a secondary educator for over 8 years. So have a wealth of experience organizing the chaos and happy to be over at Bonterra where the communities that I support can span more than just the state of Texas. So thank you for being here. Right. Well, I'm here to share with you what program management means in relation to this Premier package. If you get a Premier package, that means that you automatically get me or someone like me, someone that is a program manager that is here to ensure that someone is thinking ahead, someone is planning up front and understanding what it is that you are needing and how we get there. And I understand from being a program manager for the state and working on a lot of strategic projects that you really need someone as your vendor helping ensure that every step that you take is meaningful and that we are going to achieve our goals. You guys said reporting is important. It's important, right? Because you need to continue to get your funding and you need to continue to get your funding so that you can continue to serve your communities. So a program manager is assigned to your account if you go with the Premier package to make sure that we organize the chaos. We make sure that we outline deliverables to show specific steps that we need to take to achieve a goal. You will get a comprehensive scope of work at the start of your contract, or every time you renew your contract, we'll come back and revisit that. Sometimes we revisit it throughout the term of the contract because you guys know things change. Sometimes you get a bill passed and that changes everything and we have to pivot a bit and we can do that with you. And we also have some organizational tools that we give you access to that help to track progress and make sure that you understand what are our risk mitigations, what are our milestones, what are our documents that we need to come back and look at, what are all the important things that you need to have that you can have access to. Yeah, so end-to-end execution from start to finish, we're here to serve you and make sure there are no gaps. And our program managers, they're really excellent. Our services are data and people driven. we compared our customer efforts prior to, or we compared our customer efforts prior to adopting a program manager on their package. And overall, our customers achieved 3 times more than they were before in a third of the time. We currently support 12 separate state government agencies and growing. Those aren't our only customers. They are just some of the ones that we do support. And we also support numerous nonprofits, city agencies, national programs, all shapes and sizes. We support ETO and Apricot customers. So if you want ETO, if you want Apricot, you want to get Premier, you're going to see us at either one. And in the spirit of Bonterra's social good purpose, you know, all of our PMs have a background like you. We were teachers, we were nonprofit employees or program managers at our own nonprofits or admins working in the system ourselves. We were government workers and we were advocates, and we combine all of our social good backgrounds with program management best practices to make sure that we are giving you guys not only a good service, but a service rooted in understanding of what your true needs are, and just being aware of that and sensitive to that. Right. And this last piece that I wanted to share with you were just some examples of some programs that are using, like currently have a program manager package and are getting a great benefit out of it. Our services are obviously not limited to these types of programs, but I think it's good to call these out because you can see how these types of programs and folks that have complex needs find value with this package. So we have many McV customers that have adopted their package where we're ensuring that we're following compliance needs, making sure that we're ready for that October reporting every single year. We know that there's going to be updates to those reports. We know that we've got to follow a certain cycle, and we're here to help provide best practices and give you data that tells a full story. I won't read from everything from this list, but I think you can see folks that are a part of Healthy Families, Nurse Family Partnership, Parents as Teachers. We are already working with these types of customers that are involved in these programs and needing to report out to continue funding with these programs. So say that to say you've got subject matter experts here when it comes to helping you try to plan to continue to build reports, update reports, or different parts of these programs. And then, you know, there's more potential here. So I'll just say this to kind of wrap up my piece to say that if you're someone that has a lot of programs, if you're someone that has complex needs, everyone is saying that they have complex reporting needs, and we know that that's becoming more demanding, then you would benefit from this package because you have somebody there that has already gone through this, and somebody there that can already show you that other folks have been successful and can map out from A to Z how we could get there.
Thanks, Christy. So leaving you with one final poll, and then we'll turn it over to Q&A. So now that you've seen the details of what is included in both of our enhanced and premier support tiers, which aspects of these support packages interests you the most? We're curious to know whether it's, you know, the training that Andre talked about, the ASC themselves, help with that advanced results reporting, Christie's role of program management, or what I was talking about at the very beginning, the premium service level agreements for tier 1 support.
And again, give folks a couple more seconds to answer these. While you're answering, and before we jump into Q&A, I did want to just spend a moment thanking Andre, Colin, Dakota, and Christy for providing all of the super insightful information. I know there's a lot wrapped into this awesome offering and these awesome offerings. So really grateful to you all for being here to kind of share the added details. So did want to just extend my thanks from our team and for our audience here while they finish answering this poll. And checking out the results now, we've got a pretty good split, which is nice to see folks are interested in all aspects here. But seeing the majority kind of falling within two buckets, being the results reporting and the ASC or the advanced support consulting. So interesting to see there. And again, appreciate y'all taking the time to answer these polls. We'll go ahead and jump into the questions. Like I said, we're gonna do our best to answer as many as we can. I know one that has circled a couple of times here, and I think we thought would be coming is just where do folks find out more about these packages, about would that be the price, what it means for them, where they can get additional details? Can somebody share how they can get more information?
Yeah, so if you do need more information on this, I know we saw a couple of questions in here about the pricing. You can connect with your account manager, and they can give you more details. We're not planning on sharing the pricing necessarily for this webinar here, but your account manager can give you more details as for what package is going to fit you best. The truth is that our support packages, especially the consultant, the PM, and the results reporting, we have different scaled sizes for hours that may work better for you to have less hours or more hours depending on your needs.
Awesome. Thank you. Next question I saw come in from a couple of folks trying to kind of lump together some themes. Folks just kind of asking if you could reiterate the differences between the advanced support consultant and the dedicated program manager.
Sure. I can take that question, Amanda. Yeah. Well, your advanced support consultant is your software expert. They are the person that you are saying, hey, Dakota, he's an advanced support consultant. Dakota and I are an account together. Hey, Dakota, we need to build ABC report. Can you do it? And Dakota will build that report following best practices and consult the customer on what those best practices are. But your program manager, on the other hand, is your organizer, your coordinator of all things, ensuring that that report is going to get built on time, ensuring that this report's not going to impact what another program is reporting, and that we're considering that, and thinking strategically throughout the process end to end to ensure that things get over the finish line.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Christy. I appreciate you laying out those differences. I know some folks were asking where they could find their account manager. And I know we had a slide with some of those folks. Colin, if you could pull that up just so some folks could see faces. But I did want to say that if you are not sure how to find them or you don't see them here, you can always ask our support team how to find them, and they can point you in the right direction. So feel free to take a look here. And again, feel free to ask the support team if you need some additional info on how to find those folks. Now, I think we maybe have time for one, maybe two more questions. One came up about onboarding and receiving support. Some folks wondering how quickly can they be onboarded and kind of start receiving these packages.
Yeah, Colin, do you want to answer this one for us?
Sure. So how quickly they can be onboarded, I would say so I just answered a question in the chat. You can add a enhanced or premier support package at any time, not just when your contract renews. So you just need to contact your account manager to be able to add that. And then typically, I guess this is more a question for you, Andre, how soon after that contract is signed can you get onboarded with an ASC?
Yeah, relatively quickly. Typically, we like to start our packages at the beginning of the month. So, for example, if you were to sign today, we probably could have you partner with someone for December 1st. So it happens relatively quickly. There's exceptions, of course, if you need someone sooner, but we typically like to have the extra time. Now, when it comes to the PMs, we do like to have a little extra time. Christy, am I correct on that? Give us like 2 or 3 weeks to just kind of ramp up and make sure that um, we have the prep time to make sure that we've got everything lined up to get that started.
That's right, because we do like to build a scope of work and there's a little bit in specific resources for you. So yeah, it may take a little bit of time, not to necessarily meet us, but to just plan a bit up front.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. I think, let's see, we've got one more question we can probably get to. This is a little bit more of a specific example coming in from someone saying that my agency has a complex cross-program report need and are trying to decide between paying for an ASC or asking Bonterra for a one-off reporting project. We've never had an ASC. Any ideas on how we can make this decision?
Yeah, Christy answered this in the chat, but I want to just kind of expand on this. She had a really great answer, which I'm going to second here. I think this will be really great for anyone here. While having a one-off project may seem like a one-off kind of service you might want to look into, having the ASC is what you're really doing is you're investing in that person to learn how that report works, learn how your system works, and offer ongoing maintenance to that report. Plus, if that report is going to be related in any way to other things you've got going on, it's just good to have an expert who's familiar with how that report was built, can build things that are adjacent or similar or something along the lines. And so I think that really speaks to what value you're getting out of having an advanced support consultant, because bringing someone in to build a report and then they leave, now you're on your own again. Right. So my advice would always be to have an advanced support consultant. They always will act as your safety net for anything we build.
Awesome. Thanks, Andre. Christy, I don't know if you wanted to add anything. I know you had answered there, if that kind of covered it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there's something valuable in having an ongoing relationship with your support service. So I'll just say that the folks that we work with, it tends to not just be, hey, we have the single need and we're moving on. It tends to be an ongoing relationship that's growing and changing as your needs and your organization changes.
Yeah, thank you. I think that covers all of the questions. As you can see, I know our wonderful panel of folks has been typing vigorously. That's why they all look so intense right now, because they're trying to answer all of your questions if we didn't get to it live in the actual responses section. So really appreciate you all taking the extra step to answer those that we didn't have time to get to live. And hopefully everyone got their questions answered, or if there was additional info to gather, you know where to go next. So thank you all for your participation, our audience here, for coming to this session, learning a little bit more about these kind of new packages. I know we're super excited to bring them to you and bring you this level of support. So hope you got a lot of great information. And again, just extra big thank you to our panel for all of your expertise, have time put into this thoughtful session, answering the questions, and everything that I know that's going to come next, as this isn't the end rather than just the beginning. So thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a really wonderful rest of their Tuesday. If that is the day of where you are in the world, rest of your week. And we look forward to chatting with you soon.